Good morning, Debbie Harvey. I know that you're responsible for an orphanage and Carpathian and the North and Haiti,
Yes.
close to Carpathian, where you are helping a lot of orphan and a lot of kids, and then. My name is Cyrus Sibert, and then I would like to have an interview with you for MIC, which is Media Institute of the Caribbean, based on the children during the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you share with us? Okay, first, can you present us your institution,
What we do?
the name?
Sure. So thank you, Cyrus. I'm happy to talk to you today. So we have been in Haiti since 2008 and started as an orphanage. We now call it family. It's a family home village. We work on primarily reunifying kids with their families. So we work very closely with the IBSR, Bien-être Social, and they love us. I don't know if you've heard of the green list. Have you heard of that, Cyrus? The green list?
Yeah, the green list, yeah.
Yeah, that IBSR and Bethany Global and Lumos Foundation. They did a 2-year investigation and only 3% of people with orphanages got the green designation. So in the North, there are only 2, and we were one of them. That means that we're doing everything right, legally by Haiti, right by the children. We have funding, we're not trafficking, we're not abusive, all of that. So because we're green, the IBSR works very closely with us. So they bring us kids. We have right now 9 family homes for our kids. They started as orphan and abandoned kids, and we still have, all these years later, a lot of those original kids. We couldn't find families for a lot of them. We have a transitional program, which is for kids 18 and up, and it prepares them for life on the outside, not just you're 18, you live in an orphanage, see you later, go have a good life. We prepare them with internships and doing budgeting and going to the market and all things to help them get a job and provide for their families after. We're all about agriculture. We do community development. We do community savings programs in our area. And we have an elementary school and a church, and a ton of the kids from outside come into our elementary school. So that's pretty much everything we're doing. Right now we have about 50 kids from our transitional program down to babies, down to little guys.
Yes, regarding the COVID-19, or what was the situation and your orphanage when you heard that about COVID?
Okay, we took it very seriously from day one. We bought a mask for every child, a mask made in Haiti, I might add, to support the economy. So we bought masks. We actually bought 2 for every child. So while one was being washed, they could still wear the other, and every staff person. We also bought extras, so the kids coming into our school from outside our village would have them, and the people coming into our church would have them. We bought the thermometers to take temperatures, and we had a hand washing station at our front gate that we made. So we took it very, very seriously. No one was allowed in without a mask, temperature, washing hands, and same thing out. As soon as they left, if they came back, you had to start all over with that again. So it was kind of, because it was new in the beginning, it was kind of fun for the kids. though they would wear their masks here and their nose would be out. So we had to train them how to do all of this. They didn't take it as seriously as we wanted them to. So we had to stay on the teachers, stay on our parents, stay on the kids. And, you know, it worked for a period of time. And as things slowed down and nobody was getting sick and whatever, they kind of stopped wearing them. And then we would come back in town and they'd wear them again.
Yes.
So that's kind of how it happened.
But as we know that even for, even for the government or technician, the COVID was something unknown, and then it was very. We had a confusion about what to do or to do it.
Sure.
Is that affect the behavior of the kids, the understanding of the outbreak, if that affect what to do, what they should know or to do to protect themselves?
We started classes in school and with our parents on what this is, how it can affect you, how it can affect others, the whole thing. The whole, you know, Haitians don't often wash their hands. There's not water everywhere they are. So it's hard. So especially kids. So we were in school and all of our kids at the orphanage, who did we partner with? It might have been something from USAID that they sent out. I also use people to interpret, and they created a little video and stuff like that. So we spent time in school and at our village educating them so that they would understand. We're not just asking you to put a mask on and take your temperature and whatever. This is serious. And here's what can happen. And it was the same, Cyrus, not just to educate the kids, but the adults. It was the same for our staff. They knew nothing. No one knew. And yes, because the MSPP was putting some stuff out and videos and flyers and things like that. But the adults, I don't think really understood it either. We had a harder time almost with our adults grasping, why are you doing all of this? Why are you taking this so seriously? And Cyrus, we had people say to us, there's no COVID in Haiti. We don't get COVID in Haiti. They would say, that's a blonde thing. They would say, that's a blonde disease. That's what they would tell me. I will tell you,
white people disease.
yeah. And ironically, in the US, it's the Black people that are suffering the most from it.
Yes.
So
the Black community.
Yeah, the Black community. So it's ironic that here in Haiti, they're saying it's you white people, you foreigners, we don't get it. And we know they do. So I went in May of this year, and I went because of the manifestations and the unrest. I go from the airport to my place, spend the week, and go my place to the airport. I don't go to Lakai anymore. I don't go into town anymore. I'm not doing any of that. I'm staying safe. So with that, I went for my negative COVID test to fly home. And guess what? It was positive. Yes. So I got COVID in Haiti.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was.
You got it in your environment because you don't go out.
Yes. I got it at my place. And when I got there, a lot of the kids had colds. And I said, what's going on? It's May. You know, that's an odd time of year for everyone to have colds and bad colds. And so it really, I'm stupid. It really didn't dawn on me that this could be, we didn't test anybody, but here's what happened. Once I tested positive, I didn't believe it. I said, because I didn't have any symptoms yet. I said, this has to be a false negative. So I went to Milo. I went to Sacré-Cœur. And I said, I'm getting a second PCR test. I don't believe this. I was at the Baptist hospital at Coffre-le-Mont. And went to Milo, and sure enough, it was positive. So I had 2 positive tests. And they said to me, actually, it's a very strong positive. You've got this really good. So I was afraid to tell anyone, because if the people outside our community, my 4 walls, heard that I had this and someone out there got sick, it would be my fault. And you know what? They'd be coming after me with machetes.
They will say you bring it.
Yes, exactly. So I didn't want any of them to know that I had this. I was supposed to leave the next day. Well, I had to do the 10-day quarantine in Haiti. So I wanted them to think I was leaving. So I pretended to go to the airport and I went to a hotel. And I did my 10 days in a hotel where no one knew except my driver. And I told him, he's on staff, and I told him, if you tell anyone why I'm here, I'm firing you. You will not have a job. You have to keep this quiet. This is you and me are the only 2. So, but what we did, Cyrus, before I went to the hotel, there was a couple of our adult staff that were having breathing issues and something to do with their feet. Their feet hurt really bad. So I said, you guys just need to go to the doctor and get a COVID test. I didn't tell them I was positive. This was all within 24 hours.
Which mean that there's a lot of symptom and the population.
Exactly.
COVID.
You're exactly right.
Even they are not testing, even
they don't know. No, it costs money to get tested. So they're not going to go get tested, especially they're going to go to the hospital if it gets bad, but they're not just going to go because they have a cold like we do and go get tested. So anyway, I asked those couple staff people to go get tested because I knew I was positive. They didn't know. And sure enough, they were both positive. So I know that it went through my village. It went through our entire population of our 50 plus kids. We have 60 staff. There's about 100 people that are on our property every day.
But about the kids, do you have some of the kids, they get affected, or do you have?
I think every kid that got that bad cold had it. No one. We have one kid that has asthma. You know what asthma is?
Yes.
Yeah. Respiratory issues. So we have one kid that had that, and he needed his nebulizer. We have a nebulizer on property. One of our moms that takes care of the kids is a nurse. She has a nursing degree. So she was able to take care of him. But again, they didn't think COVID, Cyrus. This was before I got there. And then when I got there, everybody was coming out of this cold, and that's when I got it. So I didn't see anybody really bad, but I know because I talk to them every day on WhatsApp that he needed his nebulizer. But other than that, no, none
but
of
you have
kids,
no dead, no.
Nope.
Okay.
None of that.
Good.
None of that.
This is good. And okay, but now the impact of the COVID of your school, the schooling, because you have school activities on the orphanage.
Yeah. So we had to shut down for the 3 or 4 months, obviously. And we were very strict about that quarantine. No one in, no one out. If you live on property, you stay. And so all the people that came into work, we didn't even let them in. We just picked, everybody did what needed to be done. So no one came in, nobody went out. We took the quarantine very seriously. When it opened up, well, it was summer. So we did summer school, but hardly any kids came. And then when school opened up again last September of 2020, we opened, our little school opened. That's when we made everyone wear masks and do all of that. We didn't really have, we're really, even in manifestations and unrest times, like right now, most of the schools are closed in Haiti. Ours is open. Yeah. We're paying our teachers money for transportation now to get to school. If they feel safe, I don't want them coming if they don't feel safe, but we're in the north, so it's not terrible. But if they feel safe, our school is still open right now. So we're really good that way. It closed during the quarantine. You know, it closed periodically when it got bad again in May, when we had the second round of it in May. They called it phase 2 of COVID in May. That's when I got it. We shut it down again. We shut everything down, quarantined everybody again in May. And do you remember that? There was a moratorium in the country. There was like a 15-day, and then they extended it again.
Yeah.
So we closed school during that time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
go ahead.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was really the only time we closed.
Okay. Yeah, but the question I would like to ask you is, what do you get in touch with the Ministry of Education? What is the intervention of the Minister of Education during this situation?
That's a great question.
Did you receive a visit from them, the health ministry of those people, the state?
We're green, as I said earlier. The issue with being green is when you're green, that means you're good and you're doing everything right. But because you're green, you're the one that gets looked at all the time. It's really a catch-22 because it's really wrong, in my opinion, because the ones that aren't green, that aren't doing everything right, they don't even know about them or care about them or look at them. They are always looking at us good guys. So, but here's the thing, MSPP never contacted us, never came, didn't educate anybody on anything. We reached out to them and asked for information and that whole thing.
The education system.
Yes.
They never came to?
Nope. We went to them and got stuff, but they didn't ever come to us. The Ministry of Education comes regularly, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, just to check on us, make sure everything's working right, our school's doing what it's supposed to be doing, blah, blah, blah. They didn't come, as far as I know, and I can double check that, but they didn't come because of COVID. They just come for their regularly scheduled times and make sure everything's okay. Maybe at that time, because they did come during the COVID time, maybe during that time they were just making sure we had masks on and all of that, all of our students. But I don't ever remember anybody checking on us during COVID, Ministry of Education or MSPP.
Yeah, we need to put in context the green, this green thing, this green list. And for people who we have to watch this video, then and Haiti, we have there's a big crisis. Was a big crisis with the orphanage, with all kind of thing like trafficking, pedophile, all kind of thing. Because of that, and the state, the government, IBES was doing investigation just to put pressure on those orphanages, because also we had many illegal orphanage.
Yes.
You know, some people who just open the orphanage without respecting all the thing, all the rule, things like that. And because of that, I think that it's a good thing. But they need to make the follow-up, because
Amen, Cyrus.
Yeah, this is a good thing, because before it was like a chaos, but
chaos.
now you have they have the list of green, maybe they have
yellow and red. Right. So you have green, yellow, and red. The problem is, Cyrus, the reds were supposed to be shut down. Yeah. So it took them a couple years to really investigate the reds and then start closing them down. Well, unfortunately, because the government is nowhere, there's IBES doesn't have any way, there's no resources, there's no plan for shutting these down. So what do you do with all these kids? Well, guess what? They join gangs or they end up on the street or whatever. You can't just shut an orphanage down without having a place for these children to go. And this is where I'll be careful what I say, but Lumos Foundation, they just started another huge, got a huge grant to work with trafficking in Haiti. Well, but they stopped this. They just dropped this green list thing with eBears and started this trafficking thing. So there's no more follow through. There's no more help for the Haitian government or eBears with this. So the kids that they're closing down the red orphanages for are now ending up in the Lumos trafficking grant. So if they had taken care of them first over here with the green list, they wouldn't have them in the trafficking situation. It makes me so angry that these big nonprofits and NGOs think that they get all these hundreds of millions of dollars to do these studies and help in Haiti, and they just trade one problem for another.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating.
Yeah, we need to deserve a follow-up. We need to investigate just to see that the red list, what they are doing, or to pick them, But I can say that this is a small progress,
Yeah.
Just the TWI list is a small progress because
I agree.
Before
I agree with you. That was a really good thing, the green list. I agree.
Yeah. We were talking about the school.
Yes.
What was the impact on of the COVID, of all those new recommendation on the school, on the kids? What was the impact?
The overall impact, I would say, if you taught the kids what it was about, that this is a virus and you don't want this, if you explained it and taught, it was fine. If you didn't, it was stressful. The kids that didn't get that education, maybe they lived outside and they got sick, maybe they got COVID, and then they came back to school and they missed some of that. It was stressful. And we saw some anxiety issues in the kids. We saw, and in the teachers, but especially in the kids, we had a complete, tons of parents kept their kids home. Our attendance dropped substantially for a long time. It took a long time till they believed it was safe for the kids to come back to school, even with masks, with the education we were doing, with the temperature check, the hand washing stations. So there was a lot of stress, anxiety, but really, I think because we took it so seriously and provided the education with it, it wasn't terrible for us.
You know what is strange in this situation is they don't believe in it and they keep their kids at home.
Yes, I know. Maybe it's because there's blondes in there. There's blondes that run it and they're afraid we brought it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, because they have blonde white people. Maybe they are afraid for.
We only have one white person. All of our staff is Haitian, but we have one white girl that lives there, and she was positive too. She got it too.
Yeah. So, blonde is white people in Haiti. They call every white people blanc. Yes. And not in a racist way.
No.
This is just
it's just an observation.
Yes. Okay, then the best that I understand and what you just say about the school, when you explain to the kids what happened, they have a positive behavior and they can face the situation.
Yes, we actually made songs out of it. And did little songs for the kids. Yeah. We have some, so that they understand it and we could make it more fun and it wasn't scary. I mean, everything they were hearing was virus, and, Kawona. And they were scared and there was a lot of anxiety. So we tried to make it for the little guys. We also started a few years ago a special education class for autistic kids. So for them, it was scary. They didn't understand it. And that's who we made the song up for, so they could learn it by singing and dancing and that kind of thing.
But you didn't have online class thing like that.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And during because sometimes they had curfew, lockdown.
Yep.
What happened?
If there was a child that came and was coughing, like it wasn't just a clear in their throat kind of thing, you could tell that it was a cough that had to do with either bacteria or virus. We would immediately call their parents, have them picked up, and then we would shut down for a little while and then start up again. So yeah.
And during the curfew, because we had some curfew days and in Haiti, the curfew, the lockdown, or did you deal with that?
We observed all of them. We followed the law. We observed all of that exactly as we were supposed to.
And you explained that to the kids, what happened?
We went probably overboard, Cyrus, having family meetings, classroom meetings, teacher meetings. We went overboard because if there's anything I've learned in Haiti, it's when things get bad, if you don't like spend twice as much time as you think teaching, explaining, clearing up all questions ahead of it, you're going to get way behind it. And it's like a snowball going downhill. It's going to pick up speed and get bigger. So we always try to stay ahead of
communication.
Yes,
teaching,
all of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we need to mention that your orphanages in your rural area.
Yes, it is. It's not in the city.
In the countryside. It's a Limonade town.
Yep. We're
eastern.
Yeah, we're a little east of Limonade. We're right at, the Henri Christophe University, the University of Limonade.
Oh, yeah,
We're right there. We're right there. So it's really Declé Debout.
Oh, yeah, Duclair. Yeah, Duclair.
Yeah.
On the road to go to Dominican Republic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That's where we are.
Yes. Then we have talked about the schooling, the health issue, the recreation.
Recreation. We did a lot of that. When we were in lockdown, we came up with a homeschool program. We did not let the kids just be on vacation. We were like, you know what? You're on lockdown, but we can still do school. So we had every parent teach a subject for all the kids. So that was part of recreation, if you will, but we still did all recreation. We still did sports. We still did inside. We have a soccer field. We have a basketball court. So
but the distance and the social distance, did the social distance affect that?
We tried to social distance as much as we could. We kept our church, and we call them porch church. We have, like I said, 9 homes. Every night there's a small church service at one of the houses on the front porch. So everybody goes to the one house. Well, we stopped that and we kept each family on their front porch, but we put a speaker in the middle of the property with microphones so everybody could hear, and
without being inside together.
Without being on top of each other. So we did keep everybody socially distanced as well.
Okay, and then finally, the nutrition, the food, because of the COVID, we know that that the COVID brings some food challenge for the family and a country where the situation is not easy. Yeah,
it was bad. So we did a couple things, Cyrus. We provide a hot meal in our school for the kids. Obviously, we feed everybody. We make about 11,000 meals a month at our place for everybody that works for us, or all kids that come into school, our kids, everybody. So we had to start where we used to go to the market every Saturday. We started going once a month and buying in bulk. So you had everything. So you'd have everything on property, and we didn't have to worry about not having enough. So we did do that. The other thing we did for the kids that came in, because we weren't sure, other than their one meal a day in school, but this was during lockdown. So let's say there was no school right now. So we weren't sure those kids were eating. A lot of those kids, the one meal they get in school is the only meal they get every day. So we also give them, you've heard of Medica Mamba?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we give them all a sachet of Medica Mamba before they go home every day. So
Yeah.
they get that nutrition as well.
Well, there's a lot of potato in this.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we started doing during COVID was providing meals for the families of our students, because they weren't coming to school, and we knew there was no way these kids were eating. The parents were worse off than they were before COVID. So we started just providing meals for these families during the lockdown time, the quarantine.
Okay. And then I think that we reach all the point we would like to talk about. Can you share with us some observation of question one of the kids asked you about the COVID?
About what?
About the COVID.
Oh gosh.
If they ask you,
yeah, the first question that I heard that really struck me when it first started was, do people die easy in the United States, in America? Do people die easy? And I had to think about that. Like, what did she mean by that? Did she mean quickly? Did she mean, and I think because in Haiti, death just happens, and it's awful, but it happens to some kids that, live abjectly poor. It happens more often, so it's harder. And to them, it's often, so it's easy. People just die. And that was a tough one. And that was around COVID. Are people dying easy in the US because of COVID? A lot of the questions, Cyrus, we got when my first trip back after the borders opened up in August was about how because everybody heard about the US. The US is bad. It's so bad in the US. The US is inundated with COVID. So everything when I came back was, who do we know that died? Who's died that has already come to visit us? And we had a few people that died that they would know. So, it was, am I going to die? Or is my family going to die? That kind of stuff. So it was a lot about death.
Yeah, but the impact of the COVID affect a lot of Haitian and Brooklyn and the Haitian community. That's why because when something happened in US, because we have a lot of Haitian community there, we feel it in Haiti.
Sure.
Then and a lot of Haitian, we lost a lot, many Haitian there in Brooklyn and Miami.
I know a good handful too that died, Haitian Americans or Haitians that live in, well, like, do you know Susan Schenke, the high school in Cap Haitian?
Yeah.
Did you know
pastor? Yeah.
Yes. Pastor Enoch. Yeah. And then the director of the BMP, the Brigade for the Protection, BPM, Brigade for the Protection of Minors, Carlito. Yeah. And so, there were a bunch that I knew too. So that was the biggest question the kids asked a lot was
It's
about
about the dying.
death and who died and who do we know, and it just made it real for them.
Do your kids, the kids in your orphanage, do they have like correspondents in the US? Someone they are because some of those programs they establish exchange correspondence. I mean, letter, photo with
Yeah, we do with
sponsor.
letters, not with correspondence. Like we control it because it could get very out of control. Americans want to send stuff and send money.
Yeah. That's why you are green.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So we're
No,
very.
because what I asked you this question is the kids, if they are concerned about what happened in the United States, and if they establish a certain relation with some sponsor, who used to pay for them, used to exchange picture, thing like that, they can be really scary to not losing this person.
Absolutely. And that did happen. That's when I say they asked about death in the US. That was part of the point too. The kids that have been with us for 14 years do have people that came in a lot, didn't just write letters, but came also to visit. I don't do that anymore, Cyrus, but they did come. And yeah, they have an established relationship, and the kids were worried because they just heard everybody in the US is dying. You know what else I heard, Cyrus, that is pretty funny? The kids thought the Americans were all getting fat, because this is funny, but even the adults, but especially the kids, they heard that because of quarantine, we were all sitting in our houses and eating constantly, and that we all got fat. And even me, I didn't gain a pound, but when I went back down, they all go, "You're bigger. Ooh, whoa, I'm pure." And I was like, no, I'm not. But they assumed this because it's what they heard.
Not too far of the reality, because
it's true. It's true. They had to hear it somewhere, but it wasn't true of everybody.
Yes, stay at because we eat a lot when you stay at the house with
right.
Yeah,
it's true. It's pretty funny.
My last question is, do you think that it's important to have a kind of therapy for kids?
That's a great question. We have a full-time Haitian psychologist on staff. Yes, absolutely. Trauma care. We have older kids right now that would do something very successful in Haiti. They're very bright. Mm-hmm. They do very well in school. They're very motivated, confident. They're really struggling right now. They're like in a depression. And it wasn't just them. We have, if you're orphaned and abandoned, Cyrus, you've had trauma issues. So we brought in a few years ago a part-time child psychologist. And then because of COVID, when my first trip was, I saw things and I was like, oh no, we need this guy full-time right now. This is huge. All these kids need help, not just some of them. So he's now full-time. He's made a second office at our place. And we have an American child neuro psychologist that partners with him. They talk every Saturday, and they talk about our kids and certain issues, and they help each other. And so, yeah, I'm all about trauma care and therapy.
Thank you. I don't know if you want to add a last thing, but
no, that's it. That's good. You asked great questions. I do want to talk. Let me know when you can talk again. I would love to talk to you more about the green list and the red orphanages and all of that. I have ideas.
Okay. Thank you. I think that we'll keep in touch, and this is it was good to know about this experience, because this month we are reporting MIC Media Institute of the Caribbean. We were reporting about food, about many other issues, but we think that it's important to think about the kids, because sometimes in our society we are too busy, and
Yes,
also we think that because we are taking care of all the bills or everything, the kids they don't have their issues. They have their own issues. They have their way to see the thing. They need to understand what happened, and sometimes they are watching the news too.
absolutely. And
If
they're
they
your
don't understand,
future.
yeah.
They're our future.
Yes,
Yeah.
if they don't understand, they become stressed out, and then.
And we saw that. You're exactly right.
Mm.
100%.
But the good thing you said that if you explain everything to them, train them, even make them make song about,
Mhm.
and then they will get in the situation and know what to do and become more confident.
Exactly. And not be scared. We
Not
just wanted them to not be scared. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Debbie Harvey.
Thank you, Cyrus.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Same to you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.